Why, hello there. Hey guys, welcome to the second installment of the educational piece of this video series. Okay, so part one was supposed to be sent last week, but I realized that part two, which is today's video piece, has a relationship to the first content, actually, the first video, the content of the first video. Okay, so I call this one Sugar and Gluten, the Deadly Union. Okay, so let me start off by saying that my intention here is just to give you guys information that I came across, that I've played around with myself as far as like self-experimentation, and it's had great effect on me, positive effects. So I just want to inform you guys about this information that may help you guys out even more, but also it'll answer your questions as to why we're not having bread or gluten-containing products in this first month challenge. Okay, so I am going to cite a couple books that I read. One that I have here, it's called Wheat Belly, okay, by Dr. William Davis. And then the other book that I'm going to be citing also is called Grain Brain by a neurologist named Dr. David Perlmutter. Okay, so it was pretty alarming to me when I read these two books. And they both have pretty much the same information. They're both spreading the same, or talking the same language and spreading the same message. Okay, as to why the obesity epidemic isn't getting better, but also why the diabetes epidemic is going to be spreading and it's going to continue to spread. Um, so I'll start off with this little piece that Dr. David Perlmutter has on Grain Brain. So he does a lot of lectures around the country, around the world, mainly about sugar and gluten. Okay, in his book, and normally in his lectures he has this like slide show of 4 common foods that he shows to these medical professionals and nutrition professionals. Okay, so basically he shows a picture of a slice of whole wheat bread, Snickers bar, a tablespoon of pure white sugar, and a banana. And he asks them which produces the greatest surge in blood sugar, okay, or what has the highest glycemic index. So, just to recap, GI or glycemic index is a numerical rating that reflects a measure of how quickly blood sugar levels rise after eating a particular food. Okay, so they normally measure glycemic index from a scale of 0 to 100, 100 being the highest, obviously. Okay, so 9 times out of 10, according to him, they pick the wrong food. They just assume that the Snickers bar has the highest GI number, a tablespoon of white sugar, and a banana. But lo and behold, it is actually a a slice of whole wheat bread. Okay, so just to give you perspective, the sugar produces a GI of 68. The candy bar produces a GI of 55, and the banana actually produces a GI of 54. Guess what the whole wheat bread came out at? 71, which is the same as white bread. Okay, so why is that bad? Okay, well, there's another reason as to why that's bad, actually. So when you have a spike in your blood sugar, your pancreas is signaled to produce more insulin. Okay, so insulin is that special hormone that tells your cell that there's blood sugar present in the blood and that they need to shuttle that glucose into the cell for energy for use. Okay, so if you're familiar with insulin resistance and insulin sensitivity, well, if you're not, I'll explain that really shortly. So insulin sensitivity just means that your cells are readily available to accept energy or glucose, or they need it. So, for example, you're most insulin sensitive after you work out. All right, it's a crucial time for post-workout nutrition, right? When you're insulin resistant, that means that your cells aren't ready, or they're not they're not readily available. Well, they just don't need energy. Okay, well, it's actually not they don't need energy, but it's not necessary at the time. And so what happens is that your pancreas gets signaled again to bring more insulin into the bloodstream in order to get rid of all the blood sugar. Okay, so in combination of having your blood sugars jacked up, all right, and then having high insulin, all right, you normally experience this hypoglycemia, right? After that huge aftermath of insulin. After that, insulin's signaled, to the cells that it needs to shuttle in energy, and so when you have that high spike of insulin and hypoglycemia and low blood sugar, that's when the cravings start, right? The interesting thing about those cravings is that, and I'll cite it here on Grain Brain, and Wheat Belly talks about it too. They talk about how they found this compound. They call it exorphins. Okay, I'll read it here really quick. Like I said, I'll try not to be more than 6-7 minutes. But I feel like this information is actually very important. Okay, so let me get it here. Well, essentially, they found that there is the addictive quality to bread. Okay, that was found. They found something called exorphins. Okay, and they are short for exogenous morphine-like compounds, distinguishing them from endorphins, the endogenous morphine-like compounds that occur, for instance, during a runner's high. So, basically, you develop an addiction to it. Okay, so once this particular compound's actually got into the brain, it says right here, wheat polypeptides bind to the brain's morphine receptor, the very same receptor to which opiate drugs bind. Okay, so you know that euphoria you felt when you've bitten into that nice croissant or pastry. Essentially, that's what they're talking about. What physiologically happens in the brain when you consume it. So pair that with sugar, the sugar rush, high blood sugar levels, and it seems like it would be a very deadly combination. And I'll make this other site short. So on Grain Brain, they talk about this whole process called glycation. Okay, so that's when the gluten from wheat actually binds to the sugar when you have high blood sugar. Okay, this process happens in the presence of high blood sugar. Okay, so what happens is that once they bind, they turn into a foreign protein, and then everyone knows this. When a foreign protein's in your body, your immune system gets triggered. Okay, then the inflammation process happens. So symptoms with that would be, and like I said, this is all cited from Grain Brain and Wheat Belly. That fog, that head fog, I know everyone has that. That fogginess. Depression was actually one of them. And just hazy thinking. Mostly it was the most common symptoms were cognitive related. Okay, so yeah, that would be why I named this the sugar and gluten, the deadly union, deadly combination. So, if you've noticed that we were on a processed carb reduction phase, okay, so I want to answer this question as well. People were wondering why they were losing so much weight, because I know some of you have been losing 8 pounds, 10 pounds, and maybe even a little bit more, 11, in a week, and that might be alarming to some of you, but essentially, since we're restricting certain carbs, okay, but we're not restricting others, and those other ones are the good ones that we need, which is on the allowed list of carbohydrates to consume. But the thing is, carbohydrates, they're water-loving or hydrophilic. Okay, so the less you consume, the less you have in your, circulating in your system, the less water will be attracted to it, right? So one thing you guys should do is make sure that you drink water, okay? That you do get your electrolytes in. So if you're feeling a little thirsty these days, that would be the reason why, okay? So make sure to get in the appropriate amount of water, okay? That's pretty much it for now. Like I said, if you want if you want more information, I can send you that PDF from Dr. David Perlmutter, Grain Brain. I'll also give you a link to a podcast called The Underground Wellness Show where he talks extensively about this and the science behind that. It's about an hour, but it's very interesting. So I'll put that into the notes, and then I'll make sure to get that out to you guys. Okay? Have a great day, and I will see you soon.